You worked 60 hours this week, maybe more. You picked up the extra shift, said yes to the extra project, answered the email at 11 p.m., and you still feel broke. Not tight this month, broke. In your body. Like the money never actually arrived. That feeling has almost nothing to do with your income. It has a name, and it started running long before you had a job at all. Let's make this specific. Scene 1. You check your calendar before you check your bank account. Every morning. The calendar tells you whether today is safe. The balance doesn't even cross your mind until something forces it to. Scene 2. A friend invites you somewhere on a Tuesday night. Your first thought isn't, "Can I afford it?" It's, "I should be working." Rest feels like falling behind, even when there's nothing due. Scene 3. You got a raise 8 months ago. For about a week, it felt like enough. Then it quietly stopped counting, and you went right back to picking up extra hours, like the raise never happened. Scene 4. Someone asks how you're doing financially, and you say, "I'm managing." But you haven't actually opened your full account summary in months. You know the shape of it. You avoid the number. Scene 5. You've said, "I don't have time," about something that would take 15 minutes, more than once this month. Not because it's true, but because saying it feels safer than admitting you just didn't want to stop. Scene 6. A plan gets canceled, and for half a second, before you catch yourself, you feel relief. Not because you didn't want to go, but because now you have permission to work instead. If any of that just landed a little too close, keep watching. Here's the part that doesn't add up. On paper, some of you reading this are doing fine. Some of you are doing better than fine, and the feeling doesn't move. That's because "I feel broke" was never a report generated by your bank account. It's a report generated by your nervous system, and it's reading from an old file. Somewhere back there was a period where money running out meant something actually went wrong. Not inconvenient. Wrong. And your body filed that away as the baseline for what not enough feels like. Every year since, your income might have changed. That baseline didn't get the memo. It's still checking your life against the worst version of it, on a loop, regardless of what's currently in the account. You'll feel it as a tight chest before a bill is due, or a flash of dread scrolling past a restaurant receipt. Small physical alarms that have nothing to do with what you can actually afford. And here's the part almost nobody says out loud. For some of you, this isn't just about money you're actually short on. The alarm runs even when the number in the account is fine, because it was never really about the number. It was about whether you're allowed to stop. And work, endless, urgent, unavoidable work, became the one lever you found that seems to quiet the alarm. Not because it fixes the number, because it gives the alarm something to point at besides the number itself. Here are 6 ways this actually shows up. The first one. Work stopped being about money a long time ago. It became proof. Proof that you're allowed to rest eventually. Proof that you're not lazy. Proof that you're worth something today. When work is carrying that much weight, no amount of income can replace it. Because you were never actually working for the money. You were working for the feeling of having earned your place. Maybe it was the week a project fell through, and no one noticed how many hours you put in. Proof, then, felt like the only currency that counted. Some of you can point to the exact kind of week that taught you this. The one where slowing down first felt dangerous. But there's a deeper reason this one runs quiet, and it's the reason a raise never fixes it. The second, you'll work an extra 4 hours before you'll open your full statement and actually look at it. Working feels active, like you're doing something. Looking at the number feels passive, like you're just finding out how bad it is. So the brain picks the option that feels like control, even when it isn't the one that actually gives you control. You get exhausted instead of informed. That trade, exhaustion for information, is the second pattern. And it explains why some of you have never once built an actual monthly budget, despite working harder than almost anyone you know. You'll organize a client's finances in an afternoon and still not know your own total, because one task has a boss watching and the other one doesn't. The spreadsheet gets built for the job. It never gets built for the life. The third, and the one most people never name, the specific dollar amount that feels safe isn't calculated from your current life. It's inherited. It was set once, early, and it hasn't recalculated since. No matter how many raises, how many promotions, how many good years happened after, it doesn't care that you're objectively safer now. It was calibrated once, and it hasn't been recalibrated since, no matter how the actual numbers moved. This is why some people making six figures still panic over a $40 unexpected expense the exact same way they did at 20, making a fraction of that. The nervous system isn't doing math, it's replaying. Quick gut check, halfway through. If someone handed you the exact amount you think would finally make this feeling stop, would it actually? Sit with that for a second. For most of you, the honest answer isn't yes. The fourth, stopping doesn't feel like rest. It feels like exposure, like the second you're not producing, something is going to catch up to you. A bill, a failure, a version of the past you thought you'd outrun. So you stay in motion. Constant motion is, quietly, the only way some of you know how to feel unseen by that threat. And the fifth, even the wins get absorbed instantly. Whatever the number was that used to sound like enough, you hit it, and within weeks, it's not enough anymore. The finish line moved the moment you got close to it. You can watch someone celebrate a milestone for exactly one weekend before the finish line quietly resets somewhere further out. That's not ambition. Ambition chooses a next goal. This is different. This is relief that never gets to actually land, because the system underneath it was never built to register enough in the first place. And there's a sixth one, quieter than the rest. Somewhere in you, there's a ledger that was never real. A debt to some future emergency, or to people who might one day need saving. You're not working to pay actual bills. You're working to pay down a debt nobody ever actually opened. You'll notice it when you catch yourself thinking, just in case, before a purchase you can clearly afford. That's the ledger talking, not the math. And a ledger like that never reaches zero, because there was never a real balance to begin with. You can't out-earn a number that was never true. Quick question, before we get to what actually helps. When was the last time you looked at your full account balance without something forcing you to? If you can't remember, that's not a detail. That's the whole pattern, in one habit. Take a breath before any of this, because the point here isn't to add work fixing yourself on top of everything else you're already carrying. None of this means you're broken, or greedy, or that you don't know how to stop. It means your nervous system built a very reasonable response to a very real situation once, and it never got the update that the situation changed. Working hard isn't the problem. Using work as the only tool to manage a feeling that money was actually built to manage, that's the swap worth noticing. Here's the first shift. Pick one number. Not a budget, not a plan, just the actual current total in your account. And look at it on purpose, once, this week, outside of a moment of panic. Not to fix anything yet, just to let the real number and the feeling be in the same room together, on your terms, for the first time in a while. Here's the second. Put one block on your actual calendar this week that isn't work, and don't let anything move it. Not because rest needs to be earned, but because the calendar is the thing your brain already trusts. If it says something scheduled, some part of you will finally believe it's allowed. That's the whole shift. The rest follows from there. If overworking is one way the alarm tries to protect you, there's a version of this that goes the opposite direction. People whose alarm gets so loud, they don't overwork through it, they blow everything up at once. That one's next.